Hi, my name is Rabbi Robyn Fisher, and I'm the rabbi at Beth Or in South Dade. I may be dating myself, but do you remember when we used to have to go to AAA before we went on a road trip in order to get what was called a triptych? Laid out exactly how to get from point A to point B, where you needed to stop for gas, for lodging and food, how long it would take, what neighborhoods to avoid. It was that precursor to Waze and Google Maps and helped make our journeying smoother, safer, and more enriching. Wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of a plan with markers on our own life's journey? Stop here and don't go here. When you come to a fork in the road, stay to the right for this decision and avoid danger at this turn. Stop here for help and directions when needed. Such a path is set out for us in this week's Torah portion, Re'eh. In it, Moses addresses the people by saying, Re'eh, look carefully at the road signs along your way. Check out the warning signs saying danger, don't go there, and other ones that urge you to take the path of mitzvot, the path to a righteous and fulfilled life, especially as it relates to our relationship with others. The word in Hebrew that we see repeated over and over again that tells us to pay close attention is the word shamor, which can be translated as to guard or be aware or observe, as in Shomer Shabbos, to observe Shabbat, or ushmartem lasot et kol hachukim, take care to observe all the laws. And the way to shamor, the way to be mindful of the signs along the way, is as the opening word says, re'eh, to see and pay attention. But it's not just our sense of sight, but also our sense of hearing that we might engage, as the text then goes on to tell us to shma, to listen carefully, 14 times in the first chapter alone. So we need to see and to listen for specific signs along our way, signs that signal to us to make the choices that God is placing before us, those of blessings and those of curses. I remember when I was studying at Pardes in Jerusalem that these signs are meant to be conscious-raising, morality-rich road signs that create transcendence with God so that we don't lose our way. They help to create a culture of being more mindful and responsive to the needs of the people and the world around us, so that when we are confronted with things that we see and things that we hear that are crying out for our attention, we must pause and ask, how will this decision or indecision affect who I am in the world? And who do I want to be? It might seem at first that this is no choice at all, for of course we would choose blessings over curses. But choosing is not always so easy, and we don't always do the right thing. Our choices speak volumes, though, about the life we live and who we choose to be. So where do we see this message? Well, we see that in the opening line, where we read, Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom beracha uklala. See, this day I set before you blessing and curse. That command to Re'eh is written in the singular present form, directed at each one of us individually to look carefully. And then that line continues, this day that I set before you, and that you is written in the plural, to indicate that God is speaking to the whole of the Jewish people. Each one of us is responsible for making the right choices. None of us can opt out or ignore the signs calling us to choose the right path, for to do so is to choose incorrectly, to choose curses. And we must also ask ourselves, what do we re'eh, or choose to see in the world, and what do we choose to ignore? Our ancient prophets continue to inspire us to be wholly consumed with the human experience and our response to it, including those societal ills that we face today: hunger, homelessness, systemic injustice, and how it is impacting who votes, who receives healthcare, racism, and sexual and gender discrimination, our environmental crisis. Every time we hear the news or see what's broken, we have a choice and a responsibility to discern and choose between blessing and curse, good and evil. That choice is always before us on our journey, every day, on this Shabbat. As we continue to ready ourselves on our journey toward the high holy days, let us be ever more attuned and responsive to what we see and what we hear. May we always choose blessings, compassion, justice, and love over curses, apathy, ignorance, and hatred. The choice is ours. Choose well. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will.